Good evening, everybody. Glad to see such a large crowd. Hey, it's nice to be back here. And I think the crowd is fantastic. And so welcome all you Captain Alumnus. Yeah! It's going to be a fun night for us. Okay, we're going to start. Where's Pastor White? Jim? Oh, here he comes. Jim and I started in Lee School together in kindergarten, I think, Jim.
Would you all bow your heads and let's pray together and thank the Lord for this occasion. Dear Father in heaven, we want to thank you as graduates of Capitol Hill High School for the privilege we've had of being a part of that school and the investment that teachers and coaches and leadership has made to our lives. Thank you, Father, for the privilege of meeting together with friends who care about the Hill and care about the greatness of that school. I give you praise for that, and I pray you bless tonight. We've come together as graduates, individuals who have the high privilege of being part of the greatest school in Oklahoma City, and we give you praise for that. Now, bless in this meeting tonight. Thank you for the ones who will be honored. Thank you for the fact that we share together a time of blessing and food and fellowship. Bless this meeting in Jesus' name. Amen.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Okay, will everybody stand now? We're going to have the presentation of colors, and then be in the direction of Master Chief Jeff Brumage. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Carry. Colors. Ready. Cut. Forward. March.
Okay, everybody be seated, please. Okay, as you continue our salaries and stuff, you know, we all remember Ozzy Osbourne, what a legendary name that was, and all the great choirs. This evening, we're delighted to have a branch of that here this evening, and so I'd like at this time to introduce our choir. And Randy, where's Randy? Where's our choir? Here they come now. Randy, come on up, everybody. Randy Parsons.
We're glad to be here tonight. How many of you are here tonight? Let me just get a quick response. Raise your hand if you're here tonight, okay? Thanks. That's a great participation. That's enough for us to start and do our program. You know, it's kind of amazing. I passed somebody in the hall and they said, "Hey, Bob, how you doing?" It really wasn't Bob. I changed his name. He said, "You know, I can't hardly walk anymore. I have to use a crutch, and I can't see very well. I can barely see out to the mailbox, and sometimes I don't know if the flag's up or flag down. This arm doesn't work so much anymore after my stroke." But he said, "Thank goodness I can still drive here tonight." So I think sometimes we're in that position. We're glad you're here. We're thrilled to be able to sing for you. There's a kind of a little write-up about our choir on your table near the centerpiece. Have one, pass them around. We're always looking for choir members, and I'll tell you more about that, how you can audition and qualify. be in this choir. Well, really, the audition part's not that bad. All of this bunch auditioned. And, but it was for Ozzy 50, 60 years ago. So once you audition for him, you're in the choir. So we're thrilled to death.
We sang it a lot faster when we were 18, though, I'll tell you. My name is Mike Ossenkopf, and I'd like to introduce my sister, Nikki Carter, wave your hand there, and her husband, Steve, over on my far left. They came all the way from Texas to be here with us this evening. And I'd like to introduce you to my wife, Debbie Knight. She's a former Miss Oklahoma. It's now Debbie Ossenkopf. She went to Grant. Raise your hand, Debbie. Most of you knew my father. For 22 years, he directed the Capitol Hill High School concert choir. Dad was a veteran, a gifted musician, a dedicated Christ follower, a proud American, and he had a gift of mentoring high school students, not only in music, but in life. The concert choirs Dad directed performed throughout the United States and Canada, bringing accolades to CHHS. Today we have more than 40 members that have sung with Dad, either at Capitol Hill or one of his many church choirs. This evening, we hope you enjoy listening to us sing as much as we enjoy singing and remembering Ozzy and what he still means to all of us. And with further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Ozzy's Capitol Hill Alumni Choir under the direction of Randy Parsons.
This is a great country, a great
Are you still there? One of the traditions at Capitol Hill at graduation was the singing of the next song we're about to do. Picture this if you can. Ozzy, right out of World War II, was in the Navy, finished his education, came to Capitol Hill in 1951, did his student teaching under Henry Foth. Henry Foth became Dr. Henry Foth, and he was over all the music programs of all the schools in Oklahoma City Public Schools. And Ozzy, as a brand new teacher, took his place at Capitol Hill's second semester. One of our choir members was in Ozzy's last choir in the early 70s. Her mother was in Ozzy's first choir in 1951. Pretty cool. But here's what I want you to get. This next song may actually be one of the most patriotic songs we've ever had, but I don't know that we realize its significance as a patriotic song. It was first introduced as a part of a Broadway musical, Carousel, in the spring of 1945, less than a month before Nazi Germany withdrew and surrendered and began the end of World War II. This song was introduced. It became one of the most popular songs of its day, and Ozzy began using it in 1951 and used it at every graduation all those 22 years. You'll never walk alone. The good Lord said to Joshua, when Moses stepped down and Joshua took the leadership, I will be with you. I will never leave you nor forsake you. Don't you know that this veteran knew during war times, Korea War, Vietnam, and also during peace times, that many of the students who would graduate from Capitol Hill any given year would be going to the service. Many would be impacted by the days ahead. We thought we knew a lot, didn't we, when we were in high school? And yet there was a lot yet to learn. He wanted this message clear: you'll never walk alone. Listen to it. Well, the amazing part is the songs we're singing are the very songs that Ozzy taught us. The same arrangements, the very, very same notes that we learned all those years ago. We're also very fortunate in that our accompanist was our high school accompanist many years ago. And obviously, playing the piano does not age you, so we're very grateful for Kathy Gramling Perkins, who is our accompanist and was our accompanist in high school. Last year, this choir sang for you under the direction of my assistant director, Susan Pappas-Harrington. Susan, wave to everybody. She took the reins last year. I need to be off for a little medical leave of absence, and Susan, I rely on you tremendously, and thank you so much for all you do for us. I would want you to know that now that we've been here 2 years in a row, I think this is a tradition. And by the way, thanks for the free meal. That was really great too. We appreciate it. No, I'm just kidding about the free meal. What are we doing next? Battle Hymn of the Republic.
Ozzy was listening to that, and I'm gonna tell you what, he couldn't be proud of you guys. And we appreciate all your time and effort. And for sure, one thing you said, you will be part of the program from now on. So thanks again. Let's give a big hand. You know, put on an event like this, it takes not a village, but a whole county. But anyway, we got so many people to thank. Every year we show up here, we're so proud to be together as Capitol Hill Redskins and graduates, and it's a very special time in our lives, and there's a special air in the air when Capitol Hill people get together. So, but you know, it takes a lot of people to do it, as I said, and I'd like to thank some folks tonight, and the first two I want to thank is Reba Baker. Where's Reba? And Peggy Marquardt. You cannot believe how many hours it takes, folks, to put this on. I mean, we will start immediately in 1 month and start planning. There's a lot of planning involved, and so thank you so much, Reba and Peggy. I know you guys, you're very modest. You don't like to stick your hand up, but thank you, because you've done so much for us. And we'd like to acknowledge, too, all this video is Tony Gaggard. Tony, all this, you're going to see the pictures in the your book or the program. That's all Tony's work. He's a very creative man. And Tony, so thank you very much in the back putting all this stuff on for us. Let's give Tony a hand. He's a 1969 good graduate. As your program, there's a few little printing errors in there, but you'll never find them anyway, so I'm not going to mention it. But now for some introductions this evening, we have a very special guest with us. First of all, I'd like the Board of Directors, the Capitol Hill Hall of Fame. Would you all please stand? Come on. All the Board of Directors, I know you're here, you gotta be. Yvonne Jackson, our Vice President, and also Chairman of the committee that selects all these people. Is everybody standing? Yeah, thank you so much. Let's give them a hand. And I'd always like to say too, you know, we're always looking for inductees to our hall. And so if you got any names you want to give us tonight, or any of those people that stand up to the Board of Directors, and Yvonne Jackson is chairman of that, so he's the guy that if you don't get in, you blame him. No, that's not true. But anyway, give names to Yvonne. Okay. You know, and some more special guests we got tonight, and I've had the problem with the privilege of visiting with Dr. Thomas Jewell and his lovely wife Kay. Where am I sitting? Right here, right on my left, right here. And the Jewell name, of course, that is Adam's mother and dad. They look like brother and sister. You guys really held up. You held up well. More introductions. Bobby Cleveland, is Bobby here tonight? Where's Bobby? Come on, where's Bobby here? There he is, yeah. Bobby, do you have an opponent this year? Okay, you do. So Bobby Cleveland is state representative. Lots of support, Bobby. We also like to introduce David Greenwell, our city councilman, a Capitol Hill graduate. And David, where are you? Right here to my right. Thank you, David, for your service to our city community. And Noah, you know what? This this choir was so good. And that now our new vocal music director is Martha Odom. Martha? Where's Martha? I can't see up here. Oh, there you are. Way to the left. Thank you, Martha. What? Hey, you be proud of this gang up here. Thank you so much for your effort. And so now, I hope I haven't left anybody out. But this next fellow I'm going to introduce, we all know, and that's our principal of our school. You know what? When we were in school, I've walked down the hall with Adam before. He's high-fiving everybody, doing things, asking students how they're doing their work, doing good. They love this guy. This guy's got more energy. But he's not the typical cut guy, the old principals we used to have. You know, and Alonzo Roop, I never would high-five Alonzo, never would do that. But anyway, this guy mixes in with the crowd, and so I'd like to introduce now Adam Jewell, our principal of Capitol Hill High School. Come on up, Adam.
Thank you, Jadon, for those kind words. And once again, can we give it up for the Aussie singers? They were just absolutely. I always look forward to this time of year, not only because our school year has already started, 12 days into it, and we're taking off where we left off. So really excited about that. But I like this opportunity to give you guys kind of a state of the hill address. So it's kind of like my presidential moment that I get to utilize. So first and foremost, I'd like to say thank you to the Alumni Association for putting something like this together. Thank you to Jadon for giving me the opportunity to have the podium just for you gave me 30 minutes, right? No? Oh, geez, Jadon, always changing the rules on me. A couple of the groups that I want to say thank you to, though. You guys all have a flyer that looks like this on your table, and it's about the Kiwanis Club, and the only Kiwanis Club in the entire nation devoted to a high school. And you'll find a little bit more out about that when we induct Mr. Armin Edelman into the Alumni Hall of Fame. Also, though, I want to give a huge thank you to my rock and the girl that keeps me going every day, and that's my wife, Jenny Jewell. And I would like to also welcome my mom and dad. Just so you guys know, your Alumni Association, our Alumni Association, has made such a profound impact, not only on Capitol Hill High School, but on myself and my family, that my dad wanted to find out how he could get something of this nature, obviously not of this size, but of this nature at his high school back in Lima, Ohio. And so when I told Jadon that he wanted to kind of pick his brain a little bit, Jadon said, well, just bring him to the alumni banquet. And he said, I'll sponsor him, they can sit at my table, he can chew on my ear for a little while, and I would like to place some money down on who's gonna stop talking first, either Jadon or my dad. I don't know. It's gonna be a tough one. I hope my mom's in for a long haul. I also do want to say a huge thank you to somebody that you guys, well, a lot of you know her, but those of you that don't spend a lot of time at the school might not know her, Miss Wanda Thompson. Miss Wanda Thompson is my secretary, and guys, I may be the principal of the school, but I promise you, she makes that thing run. And so I've been blessed with her, to be with her. And guys, I'm in my 5th year now. I had a year as an assistant principal, and I'm in my 4th year as a head principal. And I wanted to talk about just a couple of things as kind of what's going on at Capitol Hill. We've been in the news a lot, and for good reasons. Like, I'm so excited that either in print media or on TV, we've been in the news. Perhaps you guys read something in the sports page today. We did take 3rd place at the All-City Football Preview last night. And let me tell you, we put a kind of beating on Douglas High School that we haven't been able to put on them in a long time. And one of those reasons, guys, and you might have read an article in the Daily Oklahoma a couple weeks ago about Dan Kokenauer. And for those of you that don't know the name Dan Kokenauer, you may have been living under a rock for a while. Dan Kokenauer joined us at Capitol Hill High School as not only our athletic director, but also our head football coach. After a long stint at Southwestern Oklahoma State University as their head football coach. The man is so impressive, guys. He's already been inducted into the Oklahoma Football Hall of Fame, and he's the guy that's running the ship at Capitol Hill from the football program side and the athletic director. So excited to have Dan Kokenauer. He's here today. Dan, give everybody a wave to stand. If you get a chance to talk to him, he'd love to talk to you about what the program's doing and where we're moving forward. Guys, we've also been in the news for a couple other things in the past year. This last year, we instituted an after-school supper program where every kid at Capitol Hill High School can get a free meal after school is out. Now, not only do they get free breakfast and free lunch, but they get a 3rd meal that they can have, where they can eat and take advantage of that program. I selfishly want that thing only for Capitol Hill High School because it helps our athletes. And the bigger and faster we can grow our athletes, the more weapons we can put on schools like Douglas and Grant and Southeast and all those other rivals. Also, guys, I know that just recently we were in the news for our cafe renovation. Our cafeteria got completely renoed this last summer. And if you haven't been in it since it got renoed, you guys need to come check it out. Feel free to stop by. You can also take a look at the alumni room. Miss Wanda will get you in there. And so we're really doing some good stuff. Last October, we implemented a program called Coffee at the Curb that was highlighted on KFOR for what's right with our schools, where every 2 weeks every kid that gets dropped off by their parents, we give them a cup of coffee. Parent, not the kid. I want a bunch of caffeined up kids running around my school. But we give the parent a cup of coffee and a flyer about all the events that are going to be happening at Capitol Hill over the next 2 weeks. Kind of our community outreach, try to get them more involved in their kids' education. And so we're really excited about that. And then guys, just yesterday and the day before that, at all city previews, the Oklahoma City Foundation, or the Foundation for Oklahoma City Public Schools and the Huber Auto Group have implemented a program that my administration team and myself have taken to them about the opportunity for any kid in Oklahoma City Public to win a free car. All they have to do is have perfect attendance at school. That's it. That's all they have to do. If they have perfect attendance at school, they get thrown in a raffle to draw to win a free car, and they get 4 chances, 1 cheese 9 weeks. And if they do it all 4, they get a 5th time. And guys, it's not just free from the idea of, hey, you get the car, but you have to pay the tax title and tax. No, they paid that all also. The foundation footed the bill. So we're trying to increase our kids coming to school. The more they stay, the better the chance they are to graduate, and that's what we're trying to do here at Capitol Hill. So excited, guys, about a lot of the things that are going on at Capitol Hill. And again, really excited about getting to see a group of strong, supported Capitol Hill alumni and want to do what's best for our kids and continue this progress and move to the future. So thank you guys very much for your time. I'll turn it back over to Jadon.
Thank you. You can see how the energy this guy has and all the good things that happen at our school. And so Adam, thank you so much. We're so proud of all you and your efforts. Hey, now where's all the faculty at Capitol Hill? Are they over here? With all the faculty members of Capitol Hill, stand up. Come on, there we go, Coach, get them stand up, Coach, come on out. Yeah. And Coach Rogenhauer, listen, 26-0, that's a butt kicking, man. We haven't had those back since years ago in the 60s. So congratulations and glad to have you on the team. 21 to what, 8? Oh, I didn't know that. Well, lots of luck, and we'll be out there to support you. Okay, now, let's see, if I introduce everybody, I think so. Now, listen, this evening we have this is a special evening because we have some very special inductees, and let's start that now. And I'd like to begin our induction ceremony for Capitol Hill Hall of Fame of 2018. The first inductee that we'll begin with is Mike Mullins, class of 1964, who is being awarded the Humanitarian Award. Tony?
The Humanitarian Award this year goes to Mike Mullins, class of 1964. In addition to the information in your printed program, Mike received multiple awards for his devotion to his fellow veterans. 1989 Outstanding VFW Citizens Award, the 1990 VFW Distinguished Service Award, and the 1991 Oklahoma Historical Society Outstanding Volunteer. On November 11, 1998, Veterans Day, the USS Oklahoma Memorial was unveiled. And in 1999, he received the USS Oklahoma BB-37 Award for completion of the Oklahoma Veterans Memorial. For many years, Mike hosted tours at the memorial for schools, scouts, organizations, and various other groups. Ceremonies are conducted yearly, every Veterans Day and Memorial Day. The memorial has become a favorite place for re-upping companies' ceremonies by servicemen and women, with the Marine Corps League reading each name of those killed in action. Mike's multiple health issues overtook him in December 2017. He will be missed by his wife, Teese, his 5 children and 11 grandchildren, his brother, and his many friends. Mike's efforts toward these wonderful monuments on the grounds of our Oklahoma State Capitol will be remembered for many years as people from all over the world will view them and appreciate all the memories of the many never forgotten.
Mike's legacy on the grounds of the state capitol are an honor to all the veterans And if you haven't had a chance to visit those monuments with Capitol, I encourage you to do so. It's very humbling to see all these. I can recall Governor Nye was telling me, he said, this guy, Mike, had the persistence. He was so persistent, so persistent. George said he was just a regular out there, but he would never give up till this endeavor was accomplished. And Mike was that type of guy. He just stayed in there and chugged and chugged and chugged along. Mike was drafted in the U.S. Army in 1966. He served 18 months in Vietnam with the 15th Medical Division, the 1st Cavalry, as a combat medic, and with the 7th Medevac Helicopter Unit. Those were the guys with the angels in the sky that flew the hoppers in and picked up the wounded soldiers. Upon his discharge, he received the Bronze Star with Valor, Expert M16, the Combat Medical Badge, Good Conduct, multiple unit citations, but unfortunately he was a victim of Agent Orange. And are there any veterans here this evening who are part of Mike's committee? He had about 30 people. Is anybody here from Mike's committee that worked on this with him? Well, it was just, let's do this. All veterans stand that served our country. All veterans, come on guys, everybody served our country. Stand up. Hey, that's right.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time and service.
Mike's legacy on the grounds of State Capitol honor all of you veterans, and of course the comrades who gave their lives for this country. Tonight, as we honor our fallen, Mike Mullins, who passed away in December of last year, we want to recognize his family, some of whom are with us tonight. Mike and Teese have 5 children and 11 grandchildren. Would you all stand, please, if the Teese party, where am I, over here with Mike Teese? There we are, right here. Let's give you a hand. Good. And of course, Teese, his wife, she's recently undergone some surgery, but she's with us tonight. And so accepting his award will be Matt. Matt, come on up here. There he is. Okay, Teese. Okay, come here, guys.
God is good, and His mercy is never ending. And my loving husband of over 46 years was delivered from this world on a Saturday night, December 23rd, 2 days before his 72nd birthday. He was loved by all of us. He was ornery. He had a sense of humor which sometimes confused the doctors because they weren't sure if he was teasing or serious. Most of the times, teasing. But what I want to say today is how much he loved being a Capitol Hill graduate. We went to Grill on the Hill lunches the last Monday of every month. He kept close contact with many of his classmates. And Billy Joe Maxwell, one of them, when Mike first started lobbying for the Veterans Memorial, Billy Joe was one of the first ones that came on board. Also Larry Smith, who served in Vietnam and a graduate of Capitol Hill. Over the years, Rex Haynes has become a member of the Veterans Foundation, as well as Ronnie Dobbs. The first time that I met Mike was at Southwest Medical Center. It used to be called South Community. And I saw him walking down the hallway to exit, and he had white scrubs on, and he had this dark hair and this Fu Man mustache, and I thought, short but cute. So I looked at him and I flashed the smile, and he just kept walking. Well, not too long after that, we met at a Christmas party, and we dated 5 months. and then we eloped. On my 21st birthday, on the 21st of May, which was 47 years this past May. Over the years, he never forgot that he was a high school graduate from Capitol Hill. We kept up with all the sports, the alumni, all of that. When we went to pick out matching wedding bands at what used to be Woolco, he and I were looking at the jewelry counter, and I was talking to the clerk, and I looked over, and he was gone. I told the clerk, just a minute. So I went to find him in the record department. We had records and albums. He was in the album department, and I said, what are you doing? He said, I saw Siobhan Dakin walk in the front door, and I didn't want him to see me at the jewelry counter. I said, get back over here. And that's kind of how it was. He had a mind of his own. And before it was a popular thing to do, he became the Mr. Mom of our 5 children when our youngest one was 8 months old. And so we had 5 kids in 7 years, so he had his hands full. So the girls would go to school, and he would take the 3 boys and go to the Capitol and lobby for the Veterans Memorial. But what I really want you to know is how proud he would be that you've honored him this way. And he would say, it wasn't him, it was a combination of people that all work towards this goal. So I want to thank you very much.
Our next inductee is Jim Grossback, class of 1966. Tony? The athletic award this year goes to Jim Grossback, class of 1966. In addition to the athletic information in your program about Jim, I want to add some additional information about him. Jim continued his education, receiving a bachelor's degree at OSU and UCO, and also a master in counseling psychology at UCO. He began a career in funeral service in 1968 and has 25 years experience in funeral home, cemetery, and crematory management and ownership. He earlier had worked for the world's largest funeral and cemetery company, serving as a regional president, and was responsible for several hundred funeral homes, cemeteries, and crematories in 14 states and Canada. He served as director on boards such as South Oklahoma City YMCA, Christian Heritage Academy, and Sand Springs, where he currently lives, Community Services. He's also been full-time and adjunct teaching in the Funeral Service Department at UCO. He's a 32nd degree Mason, a member of the Tulsa Scottish Rite, a member of Rotary for 30 years, Sand Springs Chamber of Commerce, the Gideons, and Christian businessman. You're going to enjoy hearing Jim relate some of his high school memories with you this evening. He evidently had lots of fun while at Capitol Hill High School. You know, Jim, like most of us, played under great coaches, John Muskowski, C.B. Spiegel, Ray Vaughn, John Smith, many others, and we all had favorite stories to share. And Jim mentions one in his report, in his little bio here, that in third grade, he was looking forward to playing ball for Capitol Hill and going up there and sticking in the stadium, his parents' name out, and so forth. And I have a similar story like that. But as kids, we all grew up. I grew up on Southwest 29th and Walker, and I could see the lights at 36th and Walker. And I think, man, I can't wait to go up there and play football. So anyway, I used to go up there and sneak into games, and my best memory was, as you go down those steps, Bobby and JW, you guys remember all that, and Barry, there's a little window there, and I'd crawl on my belly and watch these guys stare through them as they were in the dressing room. That sounds a little sick now, but anyway, it was, but I've been in therapy, so I'm well. But anyway, to quote Jim, his Capitol Hill experience provided the best and most fulfilling time of his life, and I think all of us who are athletes at Capitol Hill can say that. The best times of our life was playing football and sports at Capitol Hill. And the teammate experience could never be duplicated. University, you get to play in university, that was a job. The Redskin experience was a love. I don't want to get him started tonight about beating Grant, 28-27, but Jim can't tell every story, thankfully, but he has some good ones to tell. And Shawnee, we all remember playing Shawnee. That was just a war, getting off the bus and getting back on the bus. But so Jim, come on up the stage and tell us some of those locker room stories, or something. Well, not the Donald Trump locker room stories. Where is it? Oh, here you come, Jim. Come on up.
Well, he stole some of my thunder, but not a lot of it. But I'm going to read a lot of this because Peggy and Reba told me 5 minutes or they'd get the hook. So I'm going to be about 6 minutes, I think, if this comes out like I think it's going to. First, I'd like to thank the President Harris, the Board of Directors, the Selection Committee, and all the people behind the scenes, like Reba, Peggy, that made this go off so nice tonight. And one thing I want to say before I kind of get started here, my family's right down here at 2 tables. Do not use that picture in the program for my obit. Okay? I see them sometimes. Don't want that. I've never been a big reminiscer. I kind of always look for the next challenge and where to move on from here to go forward. But I'm not a glory days like Bruce Springsteen's song too much. But this has made me. When Dave Roberts, where Dave is, but he called me about 8 weeks ago, and I immediately started flooding back all these memories of football games, basketball games, the dances after the football games, the spot, Sussy's, A&W, Spartan. Whenever I meet anybody, and I've lived in Oklahoma City a lot of years, Houston, Denver, and now in Sand Springs for 12 and a half. But whenever I meet anybody and we get to talk about backgrounds and stuff, I always say I'm a Capitol Hill boy, and I say it with pride because I really feel that way about it. As President said, my earliest memories were when Mom and Dad had dropped me off at halftime so I could get in free, and there was something about the glow of the lights, the roar of the crowd, the band playing On You Redskins, and man, I was hooked. I could not wait to grow from age 10 to 15 to get up there. There's guy heroes like Mike Spiegel, Little CB. Some of you out there remember when Little CB was playing and he wore that fighter pilot helmet because he had a head injury sometime. And I was thinking about that, and I thought, concussion protocol in those days, a coach would hold up fingers and he'd say how many fingers, and if you could get within one, you could go back in. But they loved us, they took good care of us, and we loved them, I'll tell you. It's funny because I have a bunch of names that flooded back. Jimmy Talkington, I just got to run into out there. I watched these guys play when I was younger. I wanted to catch the ball like Leonard Arnold, George Hanks, their center John Seuss. I ran into a guy that I saw play. He wouldn't know me from a load of coal. Jimmy Wimple's out there someplace, and I watched him play and thought he was great. And I got to meet him out there the first time ever. There's some other players that I wanted to mention. Center John Seuss, David and Rick Scott, and Rick's passed on, as most of you know probably. Bad Lad, Travis Brown, anybody remember him? Jimmy Nebar, good tackle, big guy. And I could go on and on, just naming people that I watched play. People of a little bit earlier era were Olympian J.W. Mashburn, Don Demeter, played for the Dodgers for quite some time, George Manning in basketball, Chuck Page and Dick Sorrell and everything, and the Super Chief Allie Reynolds, and many others to mention, for me to mention tonight. I had the honor of playing with Siobhan Dakin. In fact, I went to grade school with him all the way through Herondale. Played football with him, well, everything with him because he played everything. Norman Colvin, Benny Morrow, Ronnie Dobbs, Steve Spiegel, Robert Koenig, Joe Beaver, Ronnie Jones. Could go on, and no matter how many I'd name, I'd leave somebody off. And then were our coaches. And these were the guys that I admired, thought the world of. C.B. Spiegel, the legend. He was quite a guy, and I couldn't wait to get to play for him. Claudel Overton was my baseball and basketball coach. He's deceased now. He probably did more to help turn me into a man than anybody else. And I thought so much of him, but he's the only coach I ever talked back to. He, one sentence, we were getting ready to play the regionals my senior year, and I'd had a hard time getting from transition from football to basketball for some reason. And I was a starting point guard, but I was a turnover machine at times, and Claudel just couldn't stand that. And then that practice that day before the regionals, I threw the ball away. He stamped his foot. He said, "Get over there and sit down. I'm sick of you." I said, "I'm sick of you too." So I watched the game from the bleachers the next night. And you know, I stayed in contact with him for many years after that, and I apologized to him, and he said, "Forget it." He said, "We're just too much alike. That's why we got on each other's nerves so bad." But I think a lot of that, man. One of the biggest honors I had was unexpected. When I went to Coach Overton's funeral at First Baptist Church in Norman, I was just sitting there listening to the guy talk, do his eulogy and so forth. And when he was naming some of these players, he called my name. And I just never knew Coach Overton thought that much of me. But just hearing that, it was quite an honor. One of the biggest I've ever had. Of course, everybody knows Coach Jake Jacobson, ninth grade coach. Willie Edwards, everybody loved Willie. Willie'd get up in your face, and by the time you had a 5-minute conversation, half of his Copenhagen would be in your mouth, and the other half would be in his mouth. Lloyd Brumbaugh died young. Good coach. John Bell, now that's a tough cookie, man. Bobby Pritchard, I don't think Bobby ever started or ended a sentence without the word dad in it. He was a good guy. Everybody loved Bobby, still does. Benny Brown, he died young. He was a good football coach. Great guy, but a good football coach at Capitol Hill. Jim Hadaway. Y'all may remember this, and I can testify. If you missed an assignment, CB might just bend you over and kick you in the butt, literally. And I mean, today he'd be in jail or something. But back then that was expected. That just got us going. I bet some of you guys could raise your hand if I asked you about that. Those guys were my life mentors, and I admired them so much. Then when I graduated from Oklahoma State, I became a coach and teacher. I coached 4 sports in 6 years at Western Heights and more. After 6 years of coaching, I felt called to the funeral profession, which I still am in today, in a funeral home in Sand Springs. But I was fortunate because I got to continue coaching as a volunteer at Christian Heritage Academy, and just loved doing that, coaching football. And I got to coach my son for 6 years. I told him how fast life goes by. We left to go two-a-days, and I said, "James, like that, you're going to be leaving from your we're leaving for your 7th grade two-a-day." And I said, "Just like that, we're going to be leaving for your senior year." And we've talked about that since. It was an honor to get to coach my son 6 years, and that's counting junior high. He wasn't in high school 6 years. It was just 3 in high school. I'll wind down here in a minute. In the locker room, I don't know if you guys heard this before, but in the locker, I bet you did. Before we go up the steps that you were talking about and out on the field, CB, it'd be electric atmosphere in there. Everybody's tense, tight, and ready to go. And CB'd stand up and look at everybody and say, "Man, it's going to be blood and guts out there tonight. It's going to be blood and guts." And he got us going. Coach Overton smoked in the locker room at halftime in basketball. And that guy, I mean, here we're in a little locker room in the field house, and he would light up and inhale about half of that cigarette, and then it just went, nothing come out. I didn't know where it went. But we're in there trying to breathe and trying to get some water in us. Speaking of water, things are so different today. We never got water. I mean, water equal weakness. If you need water, there's something wrong with it. 2 days in August, no water. Now, if you can get a manager to sneak out some water in a cardboard tape can, then you can have hot, cardboardy tasting water. That's all you got. And everybody shared that. So, but it was a different era. We We played outside as kids all summer long in the heat, from daylight to dark. Working in high school, we all worked probably labor jobs, truck docks, outside. Didn't have much water then, didn't even really think about it. It was just a different time. Well, to conclude, I'm going to say what the President just said. My red skin experience was some of the best times of my life. And I think back on them. I can look out here at Jim. I went to Herondale kindergarten with him. And so Southsiders stay hang together pretty good. I've been all over the place, but I'll end it back here someday. The teammate and coach experience could never be duplicated. And as you said, I said, university sports were often a job, but the Redskin experience was done with love. So, on you Redskins, fight right through that line.
Well, Jim did bring back lots of memories for all of us later, those great coaches. And Jim, you did a fantastic job, man. It's nice, that legacy, though, that carried on Capitol Hill, starting grade school, going through junior high and so forth. And that's all indicative this evening. We've all got legacy ties between us, between all the people who were fortunate enough to graduate from Capitol Hill. It's great being from the South. Our next inductee is Kenneth Pinkston. He was a class of 1961. Ken will receive the Lifetime Achievement Award, and we'll start that video now on him. Thank you. The Lifetime Achievement Award goes to Kenneth Pinkston, class of 1961. During high school and after graduation, Kenneth worked summers with Capital Termite Company. Then, while attending OSU, he was a research assistant in the Chickasaw Cotton Research Station of the OSU Department of Entomology. It's the study of insects. And the next year was a research assistant at OSU. His research was interrupted by the U.S. Air Force in Illinois. After 3 years, he returned to OSU as a research assistant, where he worked for 3 years, and then went to Muskogee as an OSU Extension entomologist. In 1975, he became professor and extension entomologist at OSU. In 1975, he became professor and extension entomologist at OSU. Then until 2004, Ken was a professor on the OSU campus teaching horticultural entomology and a class for non-entomology majors, insects, and society. He taught various classes for 4-H and FFA students, teaching multiple classes for pest control operators and pesticide safety and pest control certification classes through Oklahoma. During a sabbatical, Ken spent 3 months each at Texas A&M, Purdue, and North Carolina State, developing 1, training materials, manuals for state pest control operators, 2, teaching manual for horticultural entomology, and 3, teaching booklet for non-entomology majors, which become the primary text for entomology 2003, Insects and Society. During 1976 through 1996, Ken's research conducted chemical control tests for new products designed for control of pests associated with peanuts, cotton, and soybeans, as well as household and structural pests, resulting in over $200,000 in funding for programs in the OSU Department of Entomology. He also participated in the development and activation for funding of a pest management program for OSU, raising over $1 million towards a pest management training facility, which bears his name on the plaque at that building. Okay, Kenneth can't be with us this evening. He's had a serious recent health complication. And as as of this past Wednesday, Ken was out of the hospital and home, and he's walking around his ambulatory, but he's lost a little of his energy, so he needs to stay home and rest. But you know, you get to look at this guy. Who is interested in bugs? You know, and that's your mosquitoes or something. So we might stereotype a bug lover as one who might be a little strange or different. Wrong. But rather a person like the one we honor tonight, Ken Pinkston. He was a Renaissance man who gets involved. When Ken left Capitol Hill, he studied entomology and zoology at OSU, where his passion for the research in his field continued, and he also became involved in university life. I'm not sure this is on the video, I didn't hear all this, but he was a President's Honor Roll for 4 semesters, Phi Sigma Award, Reserve Officers Association Award, USAF Distinguished Military Student, Reserve Officer Association Award, Distinguished Military Graduate, OCA MA Award, I don't know what that is, but OSU Alumni Association Top 50 Seniors, OSU Outstanding Undergraduate Award, OSU Graduate Student Excellent Award. Now folks, that's really being involved. From 1966 through 1970, he served with the United States Air Force, receiving the Air Force Commendation Medal and honorably discharged with the rank of captain. His career at OSU was lengthy and rewarding for Ken. He said he retired in 2004 with a background of being so involved in school and community, it's hard to imagine this guy getting the rocking chair. But it's a shame he's not with us tonight to receive this award. But it was Sharon Runyon and his wife, Ken's wife, Sharon Runyon, a family friend and a 1966 Capitol Hill High School graduate, will be accepting for him. Sharon?
Hello. Jim Grossbeck's out of my class, and he told me that he was going to talk quite a while, so I said, that's fine, that's less time I have to be up here. No. I thought it was interesting in reading some things about Ken that his first advisor told him that he would never make it. Yeah, and he was a top 50 senior. Yeah. So, I'm very honored to be here tonight to accept this lifetime achievement for Ken. He was extremely disappointed that he could not be here with everybody tonight, but he's getting stronger every day, and he just has to get his stamina back, and everything will be fine. I know if he was here that he would be very humbled by your kind words, and probably a little embarrassed because, as his family would say, Ken was never one to toot his own horn. There were actually awards mentioned that his family didn't even realize that he had gotten. But as mentioned, Ken worked weekends and summers for Capital Termite, which was his dad's company. And previous to that, Ken's granddad had owned an exterminating company in Tulsa. So Ken was always around bugs. But he didn't like the idea of crawling under a house to kill bugs and get rid of them. He figured that there was something better, that it was not necessarily a dead bug is a good bug. He thought that learning more about it and sharing that with other people was what really appealed to him. And if you had walked in his office at OSU, you would have seen plastic bugs, real bugs, coat rack bug, toys with bugs in them, just bugs everywhere. Ken used humor and his own unique ideas to nurture an interest in entomology. You've all known students, maybe your own, that carried around a doll for home economics class. And with Ken, it was a rather unique project that he had for his students. Each year, his students had 2 weeks of taking care of Madagascar hissing cockroaches. Those weren't your standard Oklahoma cockroaches. These were 2 to 4 inches long, 1/4 to 7/8 ounces in weight, because he wanted the kids to be able to see their mouth and their antenna and their limbs and all that. And if you bothered them, they hissed at you. And one of the things that was interesting about it was he expected them to do experiments with him. So he knew some of them would be a little silly probably, and some of them would be really good. Some of the ones that they were known to have done was what kind of music they preferred, how much weight they could carry, and one was even how much beer it takes to get them drunk. Ken was quoted as saying, "I really don't know how much beer it takes to get them drunk." Ken was the type of instructor that made learning fun. He would try to connect with students through the things that they did and try to encourage them to enjoy his class. For instance, he might have an art student that he would ask them to draw him a picture of a bug. Many of his former students have said that his class was so much fun, he was easy to listen to, and he brought humor to the classroom. And I told his sister he wouldn't want me to tell this, but I read some reviews from students, and apparently he was one hot dude for an older man. Their words, not mine. He has definitely always been a people person, as those of you who knew him in school would attest. He was and still is always smiling, joking around, but also listening to and taking an interest in everyone. As his sister shared with me when she was younger, she didn't like going to Stillwater to visit him if she had to go to the grocery store or Walmart with him, because he wanted to talk to everybody and everybody wanted to talk to him. So she knew it was going to be a long trip. And by the way, his sense of humor and his jokes still live on Facebook. And some of us from time to time find rather large, ugly spiders in the garden, snap a picture and send it off to the professor to find out if we should kill it or just work around it. In retirement, Ken is enjoying going to the movies, church activities, and traveling. He used to play a lot of golf, but he doesn't play much anymore. The greatest joy he and Charlene have is their daughter and her family, their granddaughter and a grandson. Leaving Oklahoma and eventually settling in Flagstaff mostly had to do with following them around, watching the kids and their activities and watching them grow up. I know that this induction into the Capitol Hill Hall of Fame is very special to Ken, and I want to, on behalf of him, thank the Alumni Association, his class of 61 classmates, and all the CHHS alumni here tonight. Thank you.
Okay. Our final award of the evening is the J.W. Mashburn Community Leadership Award. This man is getting this award this evening. He knows how to get involved. In the video, we'll credit Armin, otherwise known as Buck, with his many accomplishments, but also knowing that he didn't do it all by himself. He was the one that was the driving force that impacted the Kiwanis Club, Capitol Hill High School, and he's worked tirelessly for our school. They've supported Armin's efforts, and the Kiwanis Club has achieved so many goals for Capitol Hill High School and have done so much for providing faculty and student and educators the equipment that they need. So let's run the video now. Tony will find out some more about this guy called Buck. The J.W. Mashburn Community Leadership Award this year goes to Armin Edelman, known as Buck to his many friends. In 1963, Armin and Carolyn moved to California, where they lived till 2006, then returned to Oklahoma. While in California, they were very busy as a team with their construction company, building houses within their community. Their drywall company grew to 200 employees, and every year,
They always traveled back to Oklahoma for their high school reunions. Armin joined the JCs in 1970 and held numerous local and state offices, including the #1 district governor. While vice president of #1 regional, he set a record for growth in membership, receiving numerous awards. In 1979, he became the highest JC award, the JCI Senator. When he became president of his daughter's Rialto softball team, there were no uniforms. He went to suppliers and asked for donations, receiving $1,000 to purchase uniforms for the two teams he coached. The following year, every team solicited sponsors for their uniforms, instilling pride among the young girls. Armin coached the senior team for 15 years. He always made a difference. After returning to Oklahoma and becoming reacquainted with his 1962 classmates, and also participating in current high school activities, at one of the football games, he became aware there was no band, no glee clubs, no cheerleaders. So he met with Principal Sosa, only to learn that our band instruments had been given to other high schools. Realizing our school's needs, Armin got busy. He applied for and eventually received approval for an application for a Kiwanis Club of Capitol Hill High School, the only high school club within the United States. Since that charter was granted in 2013, the club has raised funds for the following: the school's agricultural program, a convention cost for 2 students, and a FFA t-shirts for 80 students. For the vocal musical program, he provided a new keyboard. For the band, arranged to get $15,000 for band instruments. The band now has 100 students with instruments. For the Fine Arts Academy, he arranged to get items for their silent auction. For Lee Elementary School, he helped sponsor a school party with money for Christmas gifts. He also sponsored 2 $500 scholarships for the seniors. For the Key Club, $500 per year to attend the district convention. For our football team, he arranged meals for the players, the coaches, and cheerleaders. For the 9th grade orientation, he provided a meal for the parents and incoming students. And to assist our faculty, he provided them with school supplies. Capitol High School faculty and students are fully aware and grateful for the contributions provided by Kiwanis. The Kiwanis Club of Capitol High School continues to provide love, caring, and concern to our alma mater.
You know, Buck has, it's a dynamic duo, because wherever Armin and Caroline have lived, the community's always benefited from the service involvement. And they say for every accomplished man, there's always a woman behind the scene pushing. And Caroline is certainly that person. If we could give a 2-in-1 award, Caroline, feel free that you'd share in this one. And I'd like to now introduce Caroline's husband, Buck. Here you come. Come on up.
And all I can say is amen to that. I was originally told I had 5 minutes, but I'm going to take just another minute or so to thank Dr. President J. Don, Reba Baker, the entire alumni group that puts this program together. You know, we have the largest alumni association in this state. I did a little research, and the most I could find in any other high school was approximately 700, and they didn't meet on a regular basis. We have the best because we graduated from Capitol Hill High School. I'm going to tell you a love story. It may take just a little over 5 minutes. I practiced this thing, and I finally got it under 7. 1 Corinthians 13:13 reads, faith, hope, love. Abide these three, but the greatest is love. I'm joined tonight by two very special women. My oldest sister, Ruby, she's 92. She's 18 years older than I am. She's the one that named me Armand. I always said I thought she was a French romanticist. And then my baby sister, who is only 10 years older than I am, Sylvia, and several of her children are here this evening. I would like my family to please stand up. They have doted on me and cared for me and encouraged me. And the award I'm receiving tonight, I am accepting on your behalf. 1961, I was at the State Fair in Oklahoma City, and I was waiting for a friend of mine, Richard Smith, to come join me. When he finally showed up, he showed up with two girls, Shirley Clark and Carolyn Clark. Well, that was more than any guy deserved. In conversation, I chose to speak to the oldest one, Carolyn Clark. After a little conversation, I asked her if she wanted to stay on and go do some rides at the State Fair, and she said, well, yeah, I will do that, but I have to be home at 9 o'clock. That's not 9:10, it's 9 o'clock. We dated off and on during high school because, you see, when I took her home from school that evening, I found out that she lived 4 blocks down the street on Southwest 20th Street. I lived on Southwest 24th Street. I further learned that she was attending the same high school, Capitol Hill. She was a junior, I was a senior, and I had never seen her before in my life. People talk about karma. I talk about God's blessings. December 28, 1962, some year and a half after I met Carolyn at the State Fair, we were married. That's now 56 years ago or so. You talk about a rock, she's my rock. All the girls in my class of 62 will totally agree with that. In February 1963, Carolyn and I moved to California. In 1980, I joined Kiwanis. In 2006, we moved back to Oklahoma from California. And by 2009, I'd been in Kiwanis 30 years. I'd done a lot of things in California. It was a wonderful time. Carolyn and I owned property in Murray County, and I subscribed to the local newspaper there. In one edition in 2009, there was an article on the front page of the newspaper about the Murray County Kiwanis Club having an event. And some girl had the audacity to actually put her name in print and a phone number. Well, that person is Lynn Hickman, and she's here with me tonight. Lynn, wave. Fellow Kiwanians, now for many years, but she's also my banker. In 2010, I met Paul Woodson at City Bites restaurant on Reno Street. Never did make any sense to me why we would meet at City Bites on Reno Street, but that was Paul's selection and that was Paul. He lived in Norman, so that meant instead of selecting a place on the south side of Oklahoma City, close to Norman, that would have been just wonderful. It would have also been 30 minutes closer for me because I was driving up here from Tishomingo. We talked about our 50-year reunion and what we could do. We had 110 names. Out of a graduating class of 653, we knew where 110 of those people were. Well, there was three girls that could have worked for the FBI, the CIA, all of these government agencies, because they went to work. Mary Hembry, Sue Huddleston, and Durana Lowe, and they're all here tonight. When we finally had our 50-year reunion, they knew where everybody was, dead or alive, except for 37. And if they were deceased, they knew where they were buried. Prior to our 50th anniversary, I went to a homecoming game. We started at Chilino's, we did a tour of the high school, and then we went to the game. At halftime, I introduced our 1962 championship football players. Then the strangest thing that ever happened, the opposing team had their band march on our field. Now, from the time I was in my junior year, I had watched every football game home and away. Most of the people in the class didn't know because I was 125 pounds soaking wet. I always wanted to play football, but I never got as big as I am now. But never at my kids' college, at my kids' school, at Capitol Hill, had I ever seen an opposing team march on our field. It never went away from me. And I want to stop right here and recognize a couple more people. My beautiful daughter and her husband that just flew in yesterday from Southern California, that was my softball queen. She is the reason that I got in softball because when she was 13 years old, 12 years old, she said, "I want to play softball, Dad, and I want you to be my coach." After our 50-year reunion, I called the Texas-Oklahoma district and told them that I needed to start a Kiwanis Club. I needed the paperwork. And I talked to the next gentleman, Jim Walters, for the first time. He was the new club chairman for the Texas-Oklahoma district. The new club paperwork was submitted to the Texas-Oklahoma district. It was rejected. Then we submitted it to International. It was rejected again. And then I talked to the lady at International and she said, "Well, your new club can be accepted today. Just drop Capitol Hill High School from its name." And of course I said, "No. We don't live in Capitol Hill. Our community is that 3-story building on the southwest corner of 36th and Walker. We want to do things to help our high school. We didn't have a band. We didn't have a choir. All our instruments had been taken away and given to other schools. Well, I was the guy that stood on the corner on 25th in front of John A. Brown and watched our band every year march down that street. You might say I was obsessed, but I had a friend. His name was Jim Walters. Jim Walters and I appealed to International, the International Board of Trustees. Months go by. Finally, On April 13th, 2013, we received our charter. And just as it mentioned, the Kiwanis Club of Capitol Hill High School is the only Kiwanis club in the nation that has high school as a part of its name. Jim Walters and his wife Carol just drove in here from Tennessee today. Jim, the award I'm receiving tonight, I'm doing it on your behalf. I want you guys to know that every dime that we have raised, we have no overhead. Nobody gets paid. Every dime we receive from you, and we receive a lot, goes back to help our school, the students at our school, the teachers at our school, and every year I ask for this wonderful man, Adam Jewell, for a wish list so we can hope to do even more than we've done before. I thank you for this opportunity.
Well, all the members of Kiwanis Club, obviously you're sitting out here somewhere, right? Yeah, stand up, all the members of Kiwanis Club. Give you a big hand, God. We love that zeal. All that enthusiasm, definitely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. The Kiwanis Club also had a drawing this evening. Jim Whipple or Armin, who's going to come up and announce the winner of that? We have somebody that haven't picked the winning ticket yet, or announced the number. This was unscheduled, so we're just kind of doing it off the wing here. Tickets? Oh, here, come right here. Good.
I kind of like when they recognize somebody that can help them take a shot at it. That's it.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Luke Hayes, and unfortunately, I'm not a graduate from Capitol Hill. However, I did the next best thing and married a graduate. Joni Freeman from the class of '62. Anyway, I am the current president of the Capitol Hill Kiwanis Club, and as you know, we have a drawing each year, a fundraiser, and with your help, we've been able to do a whole bunch more for the high school. So, without further ado, we'll go ahead and start our drawing. First prize is for an original Siobhan Dakin painting. Okay, the name is Smokey. Is Smokey here this evening? Okay. going to do, if you will come and see me, I'm at table 110. After our festivities tonight, we'll go ahead and hand out the prizes. Okay, second prize is a check for $250. Boy, I know this name well. Reba Baker. Now, we have some Siobhan Dakin prints. And Siobhan has been such a great sponsor for this school. In fact, he sends us some prints each year to put in our fundraiser, and he does just so much for the school. It's unbelievable. I was hoping he could be here tonight, but he had some other obligations. So anyway, maybe we can get him next year. First one goes to Robert Dennis. Robert here. Oh, and I know this fellow is here, Farron Hottle. Yep, I saw him earlier this evening. Cheryl Bridgel Turner. Cheryl here. Okay, we'll make sure she gets her print.
George Smart?
And Barbara Wright Jones. Right.
Well, Barbara Wright. Jones.
Okay, that concludes our drawing.
Hey, good job, guys.
I want to thank everybody that's participated and bought these tickets. If it wasn't for you guys, we wouldn't be doing this. Thank y'all.
Well, I'm sorry that Dave couldn't be here, but Siobhan's been very good about giving us prints, and he's, as everybody knows, he's a very well noted Native American artist. We're getting down to close here. Childress, are all the little papooses gone? The little, we had 2 carved ones out there left. Childress, are they gone? I'm assuming they are. No gun. Jenna says no. Okay. Well, closing remarks, gang. Okay. I want to thank everybody for showing up this evening. This has always been a special event. We wait annually for it. There's so many people involved in getting this thing done. It's just an effort. And, you know, we come up here and I do my gig and this shows up, but there's so many people that are involved in this that I did blind from here in the parking lot to name everybody. But it kind of reminds me of a story about an 89-year-old man, speaking about purposes. This guy retired, and his last day at work. So, he felt bad about it. He felt his purpose in life was gone. So, on the way out of the building, he's driving home, he thought he'd have a beer. And so, as he walked in, he ordered the beer, and this kind of exotic-looking little cocktail waitress said, "Sir, you look awful sad." And he said, "Well, I've just kind of lost my will. I don't have any purpose in life anymore." She said, "Well," in an exotic way, she said, "Well, for $100, I would do anything you want me to do, but you have to say it in 3 words in 5 seconds." Wow. So time's ticking. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, I got it. And what would you like? He says, "Paint my house." So you can see how things have changed over time. Everybody was kind of worried about that when you thought I was going to do something. All right, gang. Now in closing, we're going to have the choir. Remember the choir. We're going to sing our alma mater, and we'll all stand for the alma mater. And the lyrics are going to be on the screen. I'm sure everybody remembers them. But okay. Mike Ozenkoff, go ahead and lead us in our alma mater, and then we'll dismiss.
Let's all stand. If you didn't graduate from Capitol Hill, you can kneel or stand with us. Yeah, don't kneel. Here's to alma mater, may she always wait in our hearts forever, standing proud to see her archways where we enter, her halls we love so dear. So here's a song to CHHS, alma mater.
Thanks, gang, for showing up tonight. Drive safe, and remember, take your meds. Okay.